Now I really want to start my first real knitting project, like knitting only project, and I decided I'm gonna do a really simple top. Just gonna link the tutorial that I'm gonna be following below, or just like put it here, like this is how it's gonna look like. I'm really excited and scared as well, but I did a gauge swatch for the first time as well. I kind of fucked up here in the beginning at the bottom because I didn't know that you have to switch between purl and knitting stitches when turning your work, when you're like not working in a circle. But I figured that out, and I really like how it's turning out. I mean, definitely not perfect, but I really like when the stitches aren't perfect, actually. I think that's just gives it way more character, and I just like that, you know. I'm also really a huge fan. I already know I'm gonna be a huge mohair bitch. I just love the texture. I mean, I don't know if I did it correctly. I think there's definitely a few centimeters missing to get like a real 10 by 10 centimeter gauge swatch, but I think it's fine. I don't want it to be perfect. I don't need it to be perfect. I just want to get something done and play around, because next I am thinking of maybe doing the Loopy Studio cardigan. I was actually thinking of doing this way more in the future when I have more experience, but you know, it looks beautiful and exactly the kind of baggy arm style that I really like, and I just feel like I want to do it. So yeah, I'm gonna do this top first, which I am going to start now because I'm happy with my swatch, and I'm gonna undo everything and frog it and then just cast on the top. I haven't watched the full tutorial yet, but I think it's just mostly like stockinette. It was really confusing to try and understand the purling, but I'm actually surprised how quickly I managed to pull it off, because it felt like I still don't even understand what's happening really. But it's just, you know, I have the motion in now, I think. I want to do multiple colors, but probably mostly this purple, and I also have mauve and this sand color, and here this blue, and I definitely want to include this fuzzy one. I was thinking of maybe including this one as well because it's fuzzy. It took me a while, but I also did all the math stuff and blah blah blah, and hopefully I have figured out the right amount of stitches to cast on. But yeah, I'm excited. Let's go. Let's do it. That's the next day, and this is what I got so far. Kind of liking it, and also being like, is this gonna turn out nice? I really don't know. But I kind of fucked up here because I went up a needle size and somehow turned my work, and then I ended up doing like, you know, kind of like a garter stitch, I think. And then I had to figure out how to undo that, basically. I didn't realize until 2 rows later. And yeah, then I turned it back, and now I'm back to like the normal stockinette. Also, I switched to just knotting yarn colors together because I really wanted to have some color in here, but I'm not feeling the stripe look, and I also don't feel like changing color every row, and I just wanted to, I don't know, this just feels a little bit more chill and easy. And now I'm going to try and size up even more with my needles, and I hope that this time I don't fuck it up again. I think right now I'm using 6 millimeters, and before that I was using 5, and now I still have like 8 and 10 left, and I think I really want to see what 8 looks like, because I feel like this is totally fine, this size. So maybe if the 8 one doesn't look nice, I go back down to the 6 one. But I just want to see like with the difference that it makes with the same yarn. Just curious, so I'm just gonna use this top as a little playground, I guess. I'm really curious to see how it turns out and how long it's gonna take me, because it does take a while. I'm also timing everything that I do in my Notion timer and stuff, so at the end of it I will know, hopefully, how much time this really took me, like actively working on it. So I have my 6 millimeters on my work right now, and I'm gonna try and switch to the 8 one by just like holding them together and knitting on the bigger one until I'm finished with the round. I already got my stitch marker to start the round, because I am at the start of the round. Let's pray, hope for the best. I think I really like how it's looking with the color changing. I'm really curious to see how it looks in like 2-3 rows, and it worked well. I think I'm still on the right side now, I think. Also, the cable is shorter on this needle, which fits it perfectly, I feel like. So now I'm really excited for the next round, because it's hopefully gonna go really smoothly, so let's go. So I really like the result. It's definitely not looking like the top in the tutorial at all, but I think that's fine. You know, I was just curious and playing around and stuff, and for that I think it turned out pretty neat. I really love the colors. I think it was a really nice idea to just knot the yarns together. I definitely could have gotten away with doing way less stitches casting on, because that was what I was going for actually, like a tighter top, and I probably could have, I don't know, went a bit higher before splitting. But still, it's really nice to just throw over something, and it's really warm. I've worn it a few times, and actually I've not worn it that much because it's so warm, even though it's winter right now, but yeah, whatever. I think it also looks really nice when you just throw something over, cardi or something. Great learning experience, I think. I learned a lot. So let's recap this a little bit in my planner. So this is the project page for the tank. And to be honest, the second half of the project wasn't dramatic at all. I just kept knitting. Some days I knitted for a few hours, some days I didn't knit at all. There was no dramatic plot twist or anything. It just kind of felt steady, and it was really nice. It was kind of unfamiliar, because normally when I start a new project, there's always this intense pressure that I put on myself to make it something, to make it meaningful or useful, but with this project I allowed myself to just have no expectations at all and to just be curious. And I really tried to allow myself and try to remember how it felt like to learn something new as a child. So I tried to really embody that while I was making the top, and sometimes I was actually able to really tap into that feeling, and it had kind of a muscle memory-ish sensation to it, but more like an emotional muscle memory, and that felt really freeing and nice. Like I was feeling more like myself again. There were a few moments though where I questioned whether I should be even spending time on this, because you know, the world feels so heavy right now. There's so many real problems, there's so much pain, so much chaos, and you know, I'm like sitting there knitting a little top. I kind of felt guilty for having fun. And there was definitely thoughts of, you know, is this enough, or isn't there anything more important that I could be doing? And I almost let these thoughts win as per usual, but then I realized if I only allow myself to create and have fun when things feel light and easy and whatnot, I will slowly stop creating things, and this is not who I am. I love creating stuff. I love making, period. And maybe making something fun when things feel heavy is exactly the point. Me making fun things doesn't mean I'm ignoring the world. It's a balancing act, a way of staying connected with myself, a quiet rebellion. It just means that I'm refusing to let the heaviness take everything from me. I'm taking accountability for my own happiness, and creating and having fun are vital for my happiness. For you too, probably. Finishing this, even though it's just a simple top, felt like choosing myself in a small way. So I'll continue to do fun things. That's what I decided. Honestly, having this little space to keep everything was so nice. I didn't have my project floating around in my head all the time. I could just drop everything in here, and it's really fun for me to look back at it now and be able to remember so many things about it. You know, I have the start and end date. It calculates how many days it took from that. I can track the needles or hooks that I used. I have all the yarns that I use. There's like 19 more, so I used a lot of yarn in this project, or at least different ones. I have the pattern in here. You know, I just put a little photo of the finished top in here and some little tiny notes, how many stitches I used to cast on. I tracked all the sessions that I did, so I know exactly how many rows I did. And apparently this project took me 35 to 36 hours. You know, I have this little time tracker over here that when I start a session, it tracks the starting time, and then I finish it, and then it tells me how long the session went, and then I just added it up, and yeah, it came out to be 35 hours. And also, apparently I did 12,360 stitches total. Really, I don't know, just fun to know. I don't think I'm gonna be doing that with every project, but I don't know, it's fun, I think. And what was also really nice was that on the days that I wasn't working on my top, I didn't feel like I was failing. Like I often have that when I don't work on something hyper-focused mode. I feel like I'm doing something wrong and I'm failing and falling behind and whatever. But with this, because everything was so contained and just had a space, I knew that it was just waiting for me to return and simply continue. And this made the project really feel held, you know? Like my creativity had a little nest instead of just floating around chaotically. And because I've been enjoying using this so much, I decided to open up as a beta. It's still simple, it's nothing super fancy, it's not a big productivity system. It's just a calm little place to keep your notes, your inspirations, your patterns, to track your sessions, so, you know, your projects don't just get lost when life gets a little bit more busy or heavy. If you want to try it, you can just download it below, use it for a few days and send me your thoughts and feedback, and you will also get the final version when it officially launches too. I just want to share something that I've been really enjoying. So I almost didn't finish this top and I almost didn't make this video because I felt guilty for having fun, because it felt just too small. But fun things and small things are not meaningless. In fact, they're very much needed and very healing. So if there's one thing I want you to take away with you from this video, it's that you should never ever stop fun things, all right? Okay? Here. There you go. Take it with you. Also, if you're curious how this fiber arts journey started for me recently, including me learning to knit and crochet in one project, watch this video here or here. I don't really know where, but I hope to see you there.